My big secret is something that held me back for many, many, many years of my life. It weighed me down and made it very difficult to live fully and be transparent. What I'm sharing with you here is a true story. It's a bit deep, but I feel it's time to share it. It came up on a call yesterday, and more people on more calls have talked about some of the same things. When things shows up for me like that, I feel like sharing them. And that's the purpose of this video. The secret. For many years, I lived with something that I couldn't tell anyone. Many times I wanted to, but every time I got close, there was something inside of me that stopped me. The feeling, it felt like a heavy, dark ball inside of me, always there. And because of that, I was never fully transparent in my relationships. My partners could feel it. I know that now. They didn't know what it was, but they knew something was off. And they thought that I was hiding something else. And that created distance. Let me give you the background here. A few years ago, I went on a deep inner journey. And in a session with a mentor, something was stirred up inside of me and something shifted. That heavy thing inside of me, that dark, heavy ball or bag, it moved. And that became the moment, because I took a deep breath in, I found the courage, and I said something that I've never said before. It was extremely difficult. And it was so because there was so much shame, so much guilt. The truth? I told him, my dad is an alcoholic and no one knows. See, when I grew up, from the outside, everything looked perfect. Big house, vacations, private school, big car. But inside, I was always in stress. See, as a little child, I never knew. I never knew if my dad was sober or not. When he was sober, he was the best dad. When he wasn't, everything changed. So my system, my whole being learned to be in stress, not to trust that love could hurt. And I carried that for all of those years. Now, the shift was action. My mentor asked me, who needs to know? And for a moment, I panicked. But then I told him names of my closest friends, partner at that time, and ex-girlfriend. They just showed up inside of me. And I made a commitment. The commitment was to go and tell them. The result of this, for one thing I can share, that it was not at all easy. There was such a big block or wall inside of me, and so many stories about what they would say, that they would judge me, even reject me. And I remember one story of a particular friend, and in my mind, or my mind told me that he would make fun of me, but in public. I really had to find the courage here, but I knew I had to because I made the commitment, so I shared it. And my mind with all these stories went crazy. But none of what my mind told would happen happened, because something else happened. They listened. My friends, they just listened. My partner listened. My ex-girlfriends listened. And then they hugged me. And the relationships became much deeper. Some of them even came back because I stirred up something in them, and they shared things with me that they had never shared. And we went even deeper here, because after I shared this, my mentor asked me, who else needs to hear this? And I knew. And the block came up again, the stories came up again, but I knew I had to share this. I knew I had to share this in public. So I made a video on another channel. I made a video and I shared some of my childhood memories, things that happened when I was a kid with my alcoholic dad. And I wrote a long post and shared it on my Facebook. And that changed everything. Because what happened was this. I released years and years and years of shame and guilt. That heavy, dark ball of back inside. It shifted. It released, and I felt more free. But something else also happened. People started reaching out. This was not at all a part of a plan. It wasn't a tactic. It was me healing. But people reached out, and there was one woman entrepreneur who reached out. And she actually wanted me to coach her. And she told me, I want you to coach me because your story touched me. So we started. I coached her. And guess what? After some sessions, she told me that why it has touched her was because that she was brought up with a dad who was an alcoholic, successful entrepreneur. And she was an entrepreneur, and it was something that had held her back for so many years. So what I learned from this, and why I'm sharing this, is that I saw something very powerful with this, because when I shared my truth, I could help others face their truth. I think a year after, maybe two, I had a couple of conversations with some people, some coaches with big dreams. And with both of them, after the first call, I told them that I had a video I wanted them to see. I was inspired to do this, and I sent them the link to the video with my childhood experiences with my alcoholic dad. And both of them became clients. So, like I said in the beginning, this came from some conversations I've had the last couple of weeks. People who have seen my videos or seen my posts, and people who want to share more authentic. But from what I understand, they have this block that I very well know, and they have the stories going on inside of them. So I was inspired to share this. So maybe if you are a coach and you feel something is calling for you to be shared, maybe it's the time now. Maybe you're an entrepreneur running maybe not an online coaching business, but a brick and mortar business, and you just know that something is off and you can relate to this. Then maybe it's an invitation. So if you feel that this stirs something in you, if you feel that block, you're not alone, not at all. And maybe it's time to begin sharing it. Now, this is also one of the reasons why I started the Income Breakthrough community. To create a space where we can go into what's going on inside. Because when things shift inside, results outside will shift too. If you want to check it out, the link is below this video.